Hey there, welcome to another episode of Football Everyday, the Euro 2012 edition, of course, coming to you live and direct from the studios here at Menara Star in PJ. I'm Nelsen Ng, and joining me today, Brian Martin and Daryl. Guys, good to see you in your wonderful Adidas jerseys. Tell you what, two groups have completed all their group matches, and what surprises we've seen so far, right? Tell you what, following Russia's surprising exit at the hands of Greece in Group A, Group B rounded off last night, well, this morning actually, with highly fancied Holland finishing bottom of the group and exiting the tournament with 0 points as they were beaten 2-1 by Portugal. They had to win by at least 2 goals, Brian. And Bert van Marwijk, he went for it, starting with Van der Vaart, Robben van Persie, and even Huntelaar. And the move kind of paid off in the beginning, as Van der Vaart gave them the lead after only 11 minutes with a stunning goal, I have to say. But in the end, Cristiano Ronaldo came to life to score 2 well-taken goals. So your thoughts on that one, Brian?
First of all, I have to say I'm a really bad pundit. If anyone's betting based on my prediction, gone, because I predicted Holland to
will go far, right?
Go all the way. But who would have thought, 3 games and nil wins. It's incredible.
Bottom in the group of that.
Bottom in the group of that. But coming back to the game, you're right. I think the Dutch coach made the right decision starting with Van der Vaart, and he made all the difference for the Dutch team. If only he had started against the Germans,
even
things would
against
have been
Denmark, perhaps.
Yeah, and even then, Van der Vaart had in the second half had a shot that actually hit the post, was this close to going in, and I thought
they would have made it 2-2.
I thought the game was a fantastic game. That man Ronaldo ran the show. He redeemed himself. Even Nani played well, redeemed himself.
And they deserve to go through, I think.
They deserve to go through, but barely.
Many have said that Ronaldo is not a big game player. But what a time to show his worth, right, Daryl? Look, and your verdict on the Dutch, who we know Brian bigged up before the tournament. Would you say the writing was on the wall, perhaps? From the start, after the opening result against
yesterday's
Denmark?
Podcast, we were all bigging up the Dutch. Because looking at the fact that they was just so solid coming into the tournament. They slipped up 2 games and they could still redeem themselves. And that with the 11-minute lead, we thought basically this could happen for them.
Come true, right?
But it was Ronaldo's show, and I can't remember when Ronaldo shows up usually for big games. And it was a rare one here, but he did show number 7, TR7 means business.
Brian, you're talking about big game players. I tell you what, I think for the Dutch, Arjen Robben is certainly not a big game player, right? If you look at the 2010 World Cup as well, where if he had scored that 1 goal, they would have won it.
He was a huge disappointment for the Dutch, probably the biggest disappointment, simply because he had a fantastic season with Bayern Munich. He played really well for Bayern Munich. Coming into this tournament, he and Robben van Persie were touted as 2 of the stars of the tournament, but Robben totally didn't show up. Coming back to Ronaldo, yesterday on our show we were talking about how maybe the Portuguese coach should put Ronaldo up front. That's exactly what he did, because he played a real centre-forward role. You could see that he had, I think, at least 8 shots on target, and he scored 2.
And he wanted to score, right? Very quickly, Daryl, Bert van Marwijk says they've only themselves to blame, so you'd have to agree, right?
It was total. It's very, very hard to. There's so many Dutch fans in Malaysia. Everyone's touting this. This team is like, look at the lineup. They basically can shade any of the England side or whoever. It's a great side. They were number 4 in the world. Holland, number 4, number 3 in the world. But I guess that's what happens to you. We've seen France screw it up during South Africa.
So I guess they got to rebuild for the 2014 World Cup. Okay.
How the mighty has fallen.
All right, as the Dutch left the tournament, the Germans topped the group thanks to a typically efficient 2-1 win over Denmark. After Podolski put them in front, you'd have thought that it was going to be one-way traffic again. But Brian, the Danes showed some fight and managed to equalize, but conceded again to a Lars Bender goal. Deserved result, you'd say, for the Germans?
Deserved. To me, the German team is the team of the tournament so far. They've got maximum points from the 3 games.
That's why you're wearing the jersey, right?
That's why I'm wearing the jersey. And they've actually played the game very un-German-like fashion. You think about the Germans as being very workman-like, like a machine. But I've been pleasantly surprised by Joachim Löw's team, because they play the game in a very attractive way. And in Podolski, they've got a great captain.
But I tell you what, Daryl, aside from Podolski, I tell you, players like Ozil, Schweinsteiger, they're starting to show their class. Mario Gomez is showing some great footwork as well in this tournament.
They had 57% possession. The Germans basically, with every German team you see, they go into the tournament, they win the first 2 games, and the third game becomes an exhibition match maybe. It's like it's just amazing.
Right, I mean, so it kind of expected. I mean, that no surprise that the Germans are top the group. Well, Coach Morten Olsen says his team can be proud of themselves, especially with the effort they put in. I mean, to show that they can mix it with the best. And tell you what, even played some good football at times, right, Brian? So, I mean, you think the future looks bright for the Danes?
Yeah, I mean, I think the Danes can call themselves unlucky. The match against Portugal was a turning point. If they had got a draw, I think the outcome here would have been different. But that forced the coach to throw off all his tactical plans and go for the for the juggle against the Germans.
Right. I mean, Daryl, would you agree with Brian's verdict on the Danes? I mean,
the Danes definitely can stand proud here. But most interestingly, I would say, is basically Germany against Greece in the next round. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
We definitely will. Okay. Tell you what, it is time for our first break. Well, only break here on the show. We'll be right back with more chat and banter, as well as a look at tomorrow morning's games in Group C. So we'll see you real soon. Hey there, welcome back to Football Everyday here in the second and final segment of today's Euro 2012 edition. So we already have 4 quarterfinalists, and after tomorrow morning, 2 more will join the Czech Republic, Greece, Germany and Portugal in the last 8. So over in Group C, let's first take a look at Italy versus Ireland. Midfielder Claudio Marchisio says he's confident the Spanish will help the Azzurri by beating Croatia in the other match. But the Irish, Brian, we know are playing for pride and will be out to get a result, right?
Yeah. See, there's 2 conspiracy theories here. One conspiracy theory says that because Giovanni Trapattoni is Ireland coach, and he's of course an Italian national, he will help Italy. So Italy may actually go on to win 3-0 or 4-0. The other conspiracy is that Croatia will draw with Spain. I don't know who to believe that. But like you said, Irish have always played for pride.
And with Roy Keane down their backs, they will be able to play. I mean.
But I think Italy will be too strong for Ireland. They've got too much quality.
I mean, ironically, as Brian said, the man in Italy's way is an Italian himself in Giovanni Trapattoni, who together with Marco Tardelli will look to put a dent in their own country's hopes. So how would you assess this one, Daryl?
I mean, just look at, let's concentrate on Ireland itself. I mean, they don't even have a proven goal scorer. You know what I mean? I mean, there's no, where are the goals going to come from if they're going to upset Italy? I mean, and Italy, basically, if they start with Balotelli, that would be a bonus for Ireland. I mean, Balotelli is basically been a disappointment for me, but he could basically get it right if he plays this game.
I mean, Brian, I tell you, to me, both teams kind of have goal scoring problems, right? Because Italy, I mean, they've played some good football, but they've lacked that killer instinct.
The final killer ball, that's been lacking, you're right. But like Daryl say, I don't see any goals coming from Ireland because they don't have an out-and-out striker. The guy who's impressed me for Ireland has been a midfielder, Keith Andrews. He's been the one who's like taking shots on every game, trying his best. The rest of the team has been a major disappointment. Okay,
give me a score prediction there.
It looks to me like a Italy win, definitely on footballing terms, Italy. But I don't think it's going to be a big scoreline because I mean Ireland don't really let in goals that much, except for that bleep against Spain, but at 4-0. I would say maybe a narrow 2-1 or something like that.
Right.
3-0 Italy.
So you think that conspiracy?
Even though Daryl was just telling me about this statistic of Italy not beating Ireland for the last 3 competitive matches.
You think it's going to go the way of the Italians then? Okay, so we'll see what happens in that one. Well, if Italy do what they must, then they will be hoping the Spanish stay true to form and win the game against Croatia. Brian, this one should definitely be interesting, right? I mean, seeing as Slaven Bilic's men only need a draw to go through.
Actually, it's a bit more complicated than that, Nelson. If it's a 1-1 draw and Italy beat Ireland by 3 goals or more, Italy go through. If it's a 2-2 draw, then Croatia goes through.
Right, but what would you do if you were Slaven Bilic? I mean, would you go for the win against a team like the Spanish, and get risk getting hit on the counter attack?
Yeah, or that's exactly. I think.
Or do you sit back?
I think if I was Bilic, I would sit back and hope for a draw, because I think it's suicidal to actually play go for out and out win against the Spanish team. Having said that, there's a good chance that actually Croatia may win. It's not for certain. Yeah, it's not for certain.
Croatia to top the group then.
and to play England in the quarterfinals.
I mean, Daryl, a draw is sufficient for Croatia. I mean, but as we know, it's certainly not going to be easy against the Spanish. I mean, who have just tied manager Vicente Del Bosque down for another 2 years as well. So I mean, would that work in favour of the Spanish? Would they, I mean, just like Germany, would they? I'm sure they would want to top the group, and I mean, have maximum points.
I think the one thing is basically, Del Bosque is going to put on the wall in the Spanish. During the Spanish team meetings, is the fact that what happened to Russia.
Correct. Yeah.
Really, let's not be complacent here. I mean, you basically have your chance. You need to win, and they have to go for a win against Croatia.
Yep, and you think the Spanish would want to top the group.
And that little Torres and Fabregas thing right now, who's the better striker?
Yeah, but I don't know about them wanting to top the group. Okay, if they do top the group, they may face England, or they may even face France.
Yep.
Both teams are tough teams, so it doesn't really make a difference who tops the group.
I mean, but Brian, sorry, Daryl, we're talking about the Spanish team. We know, I tell you what, if you mentioned Fabregas, Torres, rumor has it that Real Madrid now want to make a £30 million bid for David Silva. So, I mean, is Del Bosque spot for choice? I mean, will he stick with Fabregas? Will he go with Torres? Who is he going to play?
I mean,
the Shark.
He didn't even play. He didn't even play with any striker in the first game.
Yeah, he started with Fabregas up front, 4-5-1.
But I'm looking at the fact that Spain have the experience. I mean, they've won the World Cup and the Euro. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And it's just basically unlikely to see Croatia doing anything here.
I mean, Brian, would you say Del Bosque is gonna, perhaps rest his key players in the hope of giving some second stringers a chance?
I'm with Daryl. I think they've learned their lesson. They've seen what happened to Russia. What he's not going to do is start with Fabregas in front. I'm sure of that, because that experiment didn't really work out against Italy in the first game. He has to start with Torres because they've got a wealth of midfield attacking talent. You've got Iniesta, Xavi, Fabregas. I mean, the list is endless.
Silva, Mata.
Mata. Yeah, brilliant team.
So give me a score prediction, Daryl. Who's going to go?
I mean, Spain definitely 2-0 here.
Spain 2-0, Brian?
I'm going to go for 2-all.
2-all?
Conspiracy theory.
Conspiracy theory. Yeah.
Okay, tell you what, that about wraps up today's edition of Football Everyday, the Euro 2012 edition, of course. But do remember that the Euro is only about halfway through, and you can, of course, pick up your special Euro 2012 Street Edition. That's what Brian and Daryl are reading, of course, from tell you what, numerous pickup points in and around the Klang Valley, as well as in Penang. And if you want to drop us an email, do send it to us at football@thestar.com.my. So till we see you again, same time, same place tomorrow. Do enjoy the Euros, and we'll see you real soon.